Well guys, I'm in the process of making a bevel grinding jig so I can use on my belt sanders, and you may have seen it in a previous video. It's more or less completed now, but I've had a play with it and to see how it feels and how it works, and I just feel there's just slightly too much weight with it, so I thought I'd drill some larger holes in it. This is the base plate. I thought I'd drill some larger holes in it just to try and reduce the weight. Drilled some smaller ones and started to chamfer them. But I thought I'd put a really large hole where these two pilot holes are. So, looking through my drawer that I've got my drill bits in, came across this one. It's an 1.25 inch. They're all decent made make of bits, but then this is a 2 flute. But then I came across these two, which are 3 flute. They're all Morse taper number 3, but these two, as I say, are 3 flute. Now, looking at the inscription on this one, these are dormer, and it says on the 60 degrees including angle. Now, when I come to check them on my protractor, that one isn't far off 60 degrees. It's slightly off, but not by a great deal. The other one is nowhere near 60 degrees. I'm looking at it. Somebody's hand ground this, and it's all over the place. Now, I've looked on YouTube. You can normally find whatever it is you're looking for on YouTube, but believe it or not, I couldn't find anything on YouTube at all that shows how to grind a 3 fluted drill. So I'm on my own now. I can't take anybody else's advice or whatever, so I'm in at the deep end, and I'm going to see what I can come up with. Now, with the larger drills, there always tend to be a Morse taper. Very rarely you find one with a parallel shank once you get over a certain size. So first of all, I've got to come up with some way of, whatever I'm going to use for the angles, is mounting that into a holder. Obviously you can't put that into I've got 1 or 2 collet chucks, you can't put that into a collet chuck. But I have got these Morse taper adapters. This is a number 3, and they have a parallel shank on them, so you can fit them into a 3-jaw chuck, or if you've got a collet that's large enough, it'll take that, and those lock in like any Morse taper. So that's the first hurdle I've had to overcome, is actually how to hold a Morse taper drill in something that's indexable. Now I'm going to grind them on my horizontal mill. I've fitted the greenstone, that's fitted into the ER40 collet. Started to fit my dust extractor unit on, but I've got to come up with some way of mounting that at 60 degrees, at 30 degrees I should say, because it's 60 degrees included, at 30 degrees, and then I need to rotate it 3 times for the 3 flutes. Well, I've got a dividing head which would give me the possibility of dividing it into 3 segments, but I've also got this Malco indexing head. I've used this lots of times, and it's a very handy piece of equipment. I use this far more than I use the dividing head. You can sit it vertically, but you can also seat it horizontally, and if you're into machining, guys, I can recommend getting one of these really before you get a dividing head. They're so versatile, these. It's divided up into segments from 2 at 180 degrees obviously, and then it goes up to, I think it's 60 or possibly 90, with smaller numbers in between. So as I say, it's a very versatile piece of equipment. Got a 3-jaw chuck on it, and I've just realised the chuck key that I made the other day fits this chuck, so we're off to a good start. Now, with this being a parallel shank, that then is able to fit into the 3 jaws. And then I can rotate the chuck to the 3 divisions that I need. Just looking for a number 3 on there. Probably right at the opposite end. Ah, there it is, number 3. And that lines up with this witness mark on the side. So, have I gone past it? I think I have. Yeah, there's 3. So that lines up, and then it locks with this lever on a cam, and there's also 2 screws either side that lock it into position. So you've got your first grind, undo everything, rotate it to the next 3, and I can find it. There it is. Lock it down again. That's ready then for your second grind, and then on to your third and final one. So I think I've overcome the problem of dividing that into 3 segments, and really I think all that's next is mounting this on the milling table. So we've got it at 30 degrees for the grind, and then that will give us a 60 degrees included. So that's the setup, guys. This could quite possibly be a first on YouTube. Well, this milling machine isn't the biggest in the world. I do like the thing, but the table's not that big, nowhere near as big as my vertical mill. So I was getting slightly worried that this dividing head wasn't going to fit on the table with having so much stick out for the Morse taper adapter. And I've looked in my drawers and I can't find anything shorter than this. Obviously the Morse taper the time comes to about there, so couldn't really be much shorter. And I was worried that I was running out of table to mount the dividing head on. So and then give me the 30 degrees that I'm required for the grind. But it's just about on its limit. It's not fully supported, but there is enough of a base on the table to get some good clamps on it, and I don't think that's going to be a problem as it moves in and out onto the grinding wheel. I think there's sufficient support there for it. And before I start to grind this particular drill, you can see the difference in the angle it is. Somebody's butchered this. Rather than take so much meat off this on with the stone, I thought I'd put that on my belt sander and rough it out to more like what it should be. You can see the angles are nowhere near the same on it. So yeah, somebody's Somebody's butchered that in the past. So I'm going to take it down to roughly what the angle this is on the belt sander before I try and finish it up on this stone. Well, I've decided to take most of it off on the bench grinder rather than the belt sander. Anyway, that's the angle that we're looking for. And this is the worst of the two drills that I had. And I don't know if that you can see how that makes out. It's just a mile off, and they're not even the same angles. They're all over the place. Some are steeper than the others. I think a dog's dinner is the best description of that. So yeah, I'm going to rough it out on the bench grinder before I take it over to the greenstone on the milling machine. Well, I've taken most of the excess off, guys. It's not perfect yet by any means, but it's a bit closer to where it needs to be. And I'm going to rely on the accuracy of the milling machine to make up the difference in that. So it's certainly looking a bit closer. First job on the mill now is to line it up at 30 degrees with the table to give me 60 degrees overall. Yeah, I think that's good. Well, the table's on its limit this way, so I'm just about clearing the stone, so I can take that in nicely now. Now, if I can set this up on the first number 3 and then rotate the Morse taper adapter so it's in line with the stone. Let's find the first number 3. Ah, there it is, one down. So that's on the first number 3, guys. So if I move the cam onto it, that locks it in position, and then I just tighten up the grub screw. That then's locked on that position, so there will be 2 more number 3s on its way around, and then I can position the drill so it's well, that looks good. I just want to bring the table down so that it's cutting in the centre of the wheel. The But as I said the other day, guys, any job like this is 99% setup. Actually doing the job takes 2 seconds. Got the mill in its fast speed. Unfortunately, I can't fit my safety guard that I made on at the moment. I think I designed this when I wasn't using. This is a ER40 collet chuck, and when I first started using the mill as a grinder, I think I had a side lock in that this would go over the top of it. This bolts onto these 2 bolts at the top. Unfortunately, I do like to use this to try and keep some of the dust off the bearings, but unfortunately this needs 20mm off to clear the nut on the collet chuck, so I can't use that. But I will machine that down so it will be usable with this collet chuck. Well, I think we're good there, guys. I'm just going to have a coffee and we'll carry on. Right, I'm back feeling refreshed. I've got everything locked down now, I think. I've fitted my vacuum dust extractor on. So I think we're ready to go. Well, that's the first cutting edge done, and that looks a lot cleaner than it did. I'm not going to adjust the inward feed, until I've done all 3 sides, and then I'll take another look at it and see how all 3 are lining up. So I now need to advance this onto the next number 3. So the next number 3's, you can find it. Now there it is. So that's the next number 3. Let's have a see how that lines up. Yeah, that looks good. So Let's try this side now. Now I've got the inward feed locked down on the carriage, so because the grind that was on the drill was all over the place, quite possible this pass won't even touch the drill. As you can see. If anything, guys, it's taking more off this one. Well, that's the second one. Let's move on to number 3. And that's the last number 3 coming up, so let's sort of see how that one lines up. Yeah, we're looking good. Well, the last one I took there, guys, took the most metal off, most material off, so I would have liked to have started with that one first and gradually moved the table into the stone, but unfortunately I took the I used the lowest one first. But let's spin it round. I'll if I can see if I can bring you in a bit closer. You see the finish on that now, guys? Looking a lot better. Let me just spin it round. No problem in having to being able to move the drill around now, because I've got it indexed on the number 3, so we can spin it round and have a, he says. Quite a lot of relief will have to come off that one. That's probably the worst one of the 3. Yeah, they're all going to need quite a lot of relief off the bike, but I don't think there's any reason why I can't finish those off on the bench grinder. But they've all started cleaning up nicely now, and the 60 degree included starting to take shape. So I'm going to put it back on one of the number 3s. I can find it, there we go. And knock it down again. Now I'm going to advance the table in slightly now for the next 3 cuts. Well, that's started to look a lot better now. The only difference in the angle of the drill now is where the relief needs to be taken off. The facets on the cutting edge all seem to be equal now, so I don't think I need to go any deeper with that. Because these are such a large drill, I think you need quite a large pilot hole before you reach the cutting edge. Maybe 10-12mm pilot hole before you put these through. But There's one in particular there that the cutting edge doesn't seem to go right to the end. Can you see that one? But that may be just a matter of grinding that centre section out. But I think it's certainly looking a lot better than it did. I'm going to take it over to the bench grinder and take that, cut some relief off the back edge, and mount it up in the horizontal mill, and possibly make these two holes that I want to enlarge slightly bigger, maybe go up to a 12mm, and I'll mount it in a vise and see how this performs. It's only when you come to take the relief off the back of the cutting edge that you realise how far the drill was out. And I've taken a massive amount off the back there. Now, compared to the other 3 flute that I had, that wasn't far off angle wise, it's looking a lot better. This is a slightly bigger drill. I think it's maybe 1/8 of an inch larger diameter than this one, so the cutting face is slightly longer, but that looks much better now compared to it was. Yeah, I'll change the green wheel over, put one of my arbors in that will accept a number 3 Morse. I'll drill these 2 holes out slightly larger. I think I've got a 12mm bit in my pillar drill, and mount this up in a vise and see how we go. Well, normally guys, when you're drilling through using ever larger drill bits, you won't be moving the table. Once you put your first pilot hole through, it's just a matter of changing the drill, so every larger drill that you put on is centralised with the initial hole that you've drilled. We're doing it this way, I've not been able to do that, so I've just had to line the hole up with the tip of the drill by eye. But it's gone through much nicer. We'll put another one through on this side. I think that'll reduce the weight of this quite considerably. So yeah, the Malco indexing head. I found another good use for it there. If you ever come across one of these guys, I think they're quite plentiful on eBay. This has got the 3-jaw. I've seen them with a collet chuck rather than a 3-jaw, so they do come up quite often. Can't remember how much I paid for this one. It wasn't a lot, but if you do get one of these, you'll find you'll find there's that many uses for it. Yeah, I can highly recommend them. It's a good piece of kit. Well, there you go guys, another video completed. If you like watching my videos, please subscribe, press the like button, and I shall see you on the next one. Thanks for watching guys, thank you.